Unless you've been living under a rock, you'd know that Zeqa, Minecraft Bedrock's biggest PvP practice server, released a Skywars FFA game mode. But is it actually any good? Well, I'm going to try to answer that question. In this video, I'll be going over the game mode's pros and cons, my personal opinion, and comparing it to other servers. Should you play Zeqa Skywars FFA, or does it massively suck? Watch to the end to find out. Okay, I'm gonna start with the bad things about this mode. First off is the performance. When I played this for the first time, I was getting half the FPS I normally get. And while I was recording this background footage, I had to play on a region with hardly any players to get good FPS. If you didn't know, probably the biggest thing that causes your frame rate to drop is the amount of entities your game is rendering. And since players count as entities, those can cause FPS drops too. I think a good way to fix this would be to have something similar to their Sumo FFA, so that when you get into combat with a player, it hides everyone else so that you can have good FPS and no distractions while you're fighting. If they added this to the Skywars FFA, it would really help people on lower end devices enjoy playing without having to switch to a dead region. Another con is that there are no boomboxes. On the Hive, there's 4 custom boomboxes, plus 3 that are circulated as weekly items. But on here there's nothing! All you get is a sword, pickaxe, snowballs, a bow, pearls, blocks, and arrows. I think adding boomboxes would be a great thing. Okay, now this is the big problem I have with this game mode, and I know plenty of other players will probably say the same thing, and that's the PvP. The PvP on Zeqa in general isn't great, but when you put it into a chaotic Skywars FFA, it's just sad. The projectiles are so weird and feel odd compared to a server like Hive, and something that really annoys me is sometimes when you throw an ender pearl, it will throw both at once. But the worst thing is the crits. The crits. Why are there critical hits? Is honestly so bad and really shouldn't exist for Bedrock PvP. If you play Java Edition, you probably are wondering, what is this kid talking about? Because crits are such an important part of Java PvP. But on Bedrock, mainly on servers that have modified knockback like Hive, the PvP is combo based. This type of PvP is super clean and satisfying, but adding critical hits practically ruins it. You can just crit punish and use crits to counter PvP mechanics that would normally work to get combos. Having this in Skywars is super annoying, and I really wish they would fix this. But now that I've baby raged over the bad things, let's talk about the good parts of this brand new game mode. Alright, editor built here, and I just want to point out this little clip that I found since we're talking about how bad the PvP is, and the whole crit thing. Yeah, so I found this one clip while I was editing where I basically lost 3 hearts in a single hit, which is like this, that should not happen. It's just, okay, it's terrible. Anyways, on with the video. Probably the biggest pro in this mode is the map. The map is very good looking and great to play on, and I really like it. I also like that it has a kill leader statue in the center of the map, so you can see who's been getting the most kills. Another really cool feature is that when you mine a redstone, it automatically puts a bedrock block where the redstone was for a bit, until a new redstone ore is spawned in. I really like this feature because it gets rid of annoying holes in the ground after mining redstone, because that's just annoying to deal with while you're fighting. And sadly, these are all the pros I could come up with, so yeah, time to compare it to other servers. I'm going to be comparing Zeqa's Skywars FFA to Divinity's version of the game and to Hive Skywars. Personally, I think Zeqa is lacking in the creativity aspect compared to these other servers. Both Divinity and Hive have custom items that make playing them an awesome experience. The Zeqa inventory is pretty bland when it comes to items, and the loot they give you isn't great either compared to the other servers. Now on Hive, it's obviously about collecting loot and you don't spawn in with much, but it's still pretty easy to get stacked quickly. On Divinity's Skywars FFA, the loot you spawn in with is so much better in my opinion. When you spawn in, it actually gives you 3 knockback boomboxes, and instead of 16 arrows, you get 64. This might seem like too many arrows, but in reality, you usually don't use a full stack of arrows to get a kill, unless you're a complete loser, but it still makes more sense to have too many arrows than not enough. I also appreciate that because they give you more arrows, people are more likely to use them instead of their snowballs, which makes the game a little less spam heavy and way more fun to play. Also, the FPS I get on both Hive and Divinity is significantly better than on Zeqa, and the PvP is much cleaner on both servers too. Now that we've finished comparing Zeqa to Hive and Divinity, I'll be sharing my personal thoughts on the game mode. Personally, I don't like Zeqa Skywars FFA that much. It's very chaotic and seems messy. I don't find myself enjoying it as much as I do playing other game modes on that server. I'd much rather play Hive or Divinity than Zeqa Skywars FFA. That being said, this game mode is brand new, and I hope that they fix a lot of these issues in future updates. If they did, I'd probably have a lot more fun playing it, but until that happens, I probably won't play it much in my free time. Now it's time to answer the question, the very question that caused you to click on this video in the first place. But before we get to that, I'd like to ask you to subscribe. I make a ton of PvP related videos, grinding commentaries, and montages, so if you like that stuff, I'd appreciate if you subbed and dropped a like if you found this video helpful. Alright, enough yapping. Should you play Zeqa Skywars FFA? And honestly, the answer is both yes and no. I think it comes down to a specific player group that will actually enjoy playing it. If you like Zeqa PvP, then you'll probably like the Skywars FFA. Also, if you play on console, Zeqa recently updated to make it super easy to join on a console. I'll leave that video linked in the description if you want to learn more about it. If you prefer a cleaner, more consistent, and satisfying PvP, I would stick to Hive or Divinity. I personally am probably going to stick to those servers myself. Also, just a fair warning, Divinity players aren't always the greatest and usually say a lot of bad things in the chat, so I'd recommend playing with chat muted if you don't want to see those things. Well, there's my take on Zeqa's Skywars FFA. If you found this video helpful or have any questions, please comment down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.